We have a very special guest for you guys today.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Most Incredible Mohsin Rehman, founder of the OG, original, the one and the only, the trendsetter, Hal and Al's BBQ.
Sure guess which one I am.
He's both.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on, man. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, mate.
How you
What's
doing?
up?
How you doing?
I haven't been in this room in a long time.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
How's it
changed.
feel?
Well, there's a white wall. Rest of y'all can't see this, but there's like cameras and lights and backdrops.
Yeah.
It's fancy.
Yeah. I like your shirt.
Thanks.
Tell me a little bit about your shirt. What's going on
I feel like
with
this shirt represents everything that I am and everything that is America.
Yeah, I think it does.
It's got a little bit of everything, man. You got shorts.
You got saxophones on there.
Yeah, man. You gotta stay smooth. That's all that means. It's not about the music. It's just a metaphor for always be smooth.
Barbecue.
Yeah.
There's
There's rumors that I'm pretty
weapons on there.
oriented.
There's weapons on there.
Yeah, man. They got some coffee. Not that I drink coffee. But
Yeah.
the idea of coffee is very American. You got this random libertarian who likes to wear shorts and.
Oh, isn't that the guy from Parks and Rec?
Yeah, man. He's my hero.
Okay.
He eats meat. He knows that fish is practically a vegetable. Chicken is definitely a vegetable.
So speaking of, let's get into that. Okay. What made you get into Hal and Al's? I mean, I've known you, right? I've known you for the past 8-9 years.
Yeah.
So I
Met
remember
in this room actually 8 years ago.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
And yeah, we just kind of hit it off from there.
Yeah.
And I remember the days where you were more, I don't want to say a novice, but you knew what you were doing and you were just experimenting,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I remember the days you were used to cook steak in a toaster oven, right?
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I remember because I used to have your meat,
Yeah.
your steaks, right?
Yeah.
And you got that down to a craft. You got it down to, honestly.
Toaster oven steaks are the best steaks. Don't let them lie to you and tell you need a $5,000 grill or a pellet smoker or an offset. Man, toaster oven, Black & Decker all the way. I'm from Baltimore, Black & Decker hometown.
Dude, we'll get into Baltimore too.
Yeah.
But so, I got to be honest with you. I was just like any other Desi. I was just straight Desi. I had no appreciation for steak, right?
Oh, I remember. It was stuff to make toba for.
Yeah. I used to think that it's just a piece of boti. Like what's so, a boti for you guys that don't speak Urdu is more.
It's like a chunk of meat.
It's just chunk of meat. It's just a word for a piece of meat, right?
A bite.
A bite, right? A bite of meat.
Morsel.
There you go, morsel.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I had no sort of appreciation of, the rub that goes in, right? And the cook and the different temps and the consistency, right? Like, I know a lot of, I remember growing up and it's like any redness in the meat meant that it's uncooked,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
even if, forget blood, right? Like, if you saw any redness in the meat,
Yeah.
it's just like, oh, ye paka hua nahi hai.
Yeah, kacha.
Kacha hai. And
Yeah.
it's like, it's
Send
raw.
it back.
Yeah, send it back. Or cook, or if you're at home, like cook it more, right?
तुम शर्म नहीं आती like तुम्हारी बेटी की शादी कब होगी?
Yeah.
कैसे होगी?
So, what made you get into that?
You guys.
Yeah.
We've got this tight friend circle, and I like to eat meat. We're
Yeah.
Punjabi, man. We don't believe in vegetables. Like
Yeah.
chicken is practically a vegetable in our community, right? It's just a vegetable with legs.
Okay.
So we like our meat. You
Yeah.
know, the further deeper you go into Pakistan, further east you go into India,
Yeah.
things get a little bit more vegetarian. So
yeah.
the deeper you go into Punjab, the heavier they get into meat, the lard, the kebabs. And so I think it's in our roots. But, we've got this tight-knit circle. We're always hanging out.
Yeah.
Davats, pre-COVID, it was like every weekend we were hanging out.
Yeah.
And it was pizza nights.
But why steak?
Lots of pizza
Why
nights.
steak and meat in particular? Like, why that type of cuisine?
It's got
Like, because, okay, so it's like American cuisine, right?
It's got a few roots to it.
Okay.
A little bit just because there's this idea that, right, like man eats meat, caveman, you know? Yeah. So when you grow up camping and hunting and things like that, and my dad, you know, he's got like a merchant Navy background, a Navy background. He's a real strict guy.
Okay.
So you kind of get this idea of what a man eats, right?
Right.
And
Sure.
Like,
it's very manly. It's very manly.
Bone, you know, meat right off the bone.
Yeah. Like Fred Flintstone guy.
Exactly.
Right.
Like, you know, United. It's here somewhere. Here you go.
Who's that?
United States of America.
United States of America. I like that.
So, you know, that was part of it. And then as I think matured in my career and I could afford nicer and nicer food. I mean, when we were in college, I remember, man, this McChicken, this fish fillet. Oh, today they got the Old Bay edition. That was good food.
Right.
That was good eating. And as you kind of progress in your career and your finances get better, you start to, you know, the world of, the cuisine opens up to you.
Yeah.
And, you know, I started tasting animals from different sides of the world and food. And I was like, man, this is good. I'm starting to notice the quality of meat actually means something. It's not just a price tag that some rich guy put on there.
Yeah. I always wondered, I was like, dude, I got to pay $70 for a piece of boti. Like, y'all crazy.
Yeah, no, it matters. It really matters. And I think part of that comes down to like our big old Punjabi noses, right? Like big nose, big smells. Right? Taste comes from smell. Smell is far more important in your palate than your tongue or anything else is. So, you know, I think this helped me get a better appreciation of the subtleties of the ingredients and what I was consuming. And it kind of grew from there. And then because we were always having these davats and parties, I like feeding y'all. And brisket was a very natural progression into being able to feed more people in a specified amount of time. Yeah. So, you know, I bought this cheap $130 smoker from Best Buy. We were staying at a friend's house, set it up on his deck, and just went to any place we could find, right? That had a halal brisket. We went to this Persian shop that probably wasn't even selling as brisket at the time, but we didn't know any better. And we stuck it in that smoker, and it came out good. You know, we all ate it, and we did it every weekend, and then it kept getting bigger and bigger.
And then I noticed that you started like refining brisket over the, you know, just staying with you, you know, for those that you don't know, you and I were roommates for a very long time. And so the brisket changed flavor over the years. Yeah. Right. Yep. Talk to me about that, like the different like cuts and
you know, barbecue in general is a very complicated like
people
machine.
Don't think that.
People, you know, there's always like you go to the barbecue joint, you ask for the specific meats, but you don't see the regional and cultural influences that meat had to go through to get on your table. And so as I evolved in the barbecue scene, I met people who were barbecue enthusiasts, people who just loved barbecue, whether they were my coworkers, my friends. I met some people who did it professionally. I was lucky enough to really meet the right people, I think, at the right time. The guys out at Traeger, folks out in Texas. I met a couple pitmasters out there, and they've been very open. You know, you never get some guy trying to hoard his secrets. There's no my precious, you know, none of that stuff here.
Precious.
You know, none of that. It's like I met somebody who's like, this is what I put on there. This is how long I put it on there. This is my technique. It might be different than someone else's technique, but this is my technique.
So they're willing to share all that
no one once hid their recipe. There was no secret barbecue recipe. The barbecue recipe was, are you willing to put the effort in?
Dude, I went to a local halal meat store recently, and they marinate their chicken, right? Like a nice little, you know, marinade. I like it, right? And then, you know, I'm like, it's like tandoori chicken, right? Tandoori masala, right? Right. That they use, right? It looks like a tandoori chicken, boneless or whatever. I'm like, man, I really like this. But you know, like I like to cook Desi food, right? So I'm thinking in my mind, I got to try to do this myself. Yeah. Right. I'm not gonna pay extra when I could. Like I already cook, I already marinate stuff. I'm gonna try to do this myself. It wasn't turning out the same, right? Yeah. It just wasn't. I got the tandoori masala, right? I did some YouTube like research, tandoori masala. It just wasn't the same, right? Yeah. And I tried to pinpoint, like, there's something in here that is missing. Right? I don't know if it's like vinegar, like what are they adding in here, right? And it wasn't just food coloring. Like the color was different, but So I went to the guy, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, what do you guys put in here? Right? Like, can you tell? I'm like a loyal customer, right? That's the only halal, like Asian, store that I go to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't go to the other guys, right?
Hashtag Fairfax.
Yeah. What? Huh?
What?
So I go to the guy, and he's just like, he says, he's like, yeah, we add some masala. I'm like, dude, I know that.
Yeah.
What type? Like
what do you put?
Like what masala, right?
Mm-hmm.
What type of spices you put in there? He's like, just regular masala, right? A little bit of salt, a little bit of vinegar, like, a little bit of oil. I'm like, man, this guy's not going to tell me.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm like, you're a loyal customer, right? Mm-hmm. It's not like I'm not going to buy that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still going to get my meat from you guys, right? Like, and in the times that maybe I'm really busy, I don't have time to marinate. Like, maybe I'm cooking for like a feast to have a bunch of people over.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm going to call you guys and say, hey, listen, I'm not trying to do this for like 30 people.
Right.
I want you guys to do it. So there's that like type of stigma.
Guardedness.
Yeah, it's like guardedness, right? So
you can't trust. I mean, it's true.
So it's really interesting that the barbecue culture
doesn't do that.
They don't do that.
That's what I loved right off the bat. Like people come to me now, and it's not like I'm an authority on it or anything. I just happen to waste a lot of my time doing it.
Yeah.
And people come to me like with a question, hey, how long do I put the brisket in? What temp? Do I flip it? Do I add apple cider vinegar? Like, There's 150 million techniques out there.
A million ways to skin this cat.
Cats aren't halal, but if we could, I would.
Right. What's the weirdest animal you've ever ate?
Ooh. Kangaroo. Kangaroo's delicious. Kangaroo tail is really where all the meat is. Kangaroos are very lean animals.
Did you punch it?
No, that was Earl Thomas's job, and he didn't even do a very good job of it. No, kangaroo tail is where all the meat is. It's like that's where the keema comes from, right? That's where all that ground meat comes from.
Okay.
The rest of the animal is very lean.
Yeah.
But that tail, it's like a balancing tool. They can stand on it. They can whip it. It's straight hard muscle.
Okay.
And kangaroo burgers are pretty excellent.
Wow.
Yeah.
Kangaroo.
The zebra steaks, horse steaks. Horse is actually surprisingly good.
Wow.
If you ever go to,
where does somebody come across like stuff like this? You just travel a lot?
Yeah, zebra, which is odd, is very popular in northern Scotland.
Okay.
For some reason, the Scots developed a taste for zebra.
I didn't even know. So what, zebras exist in Scotland?
No, they just... I think they might exist somewhere. The queen
thought it was like
just
a
got a little stash.
Okay.
Yeah, she got a little stash of zebra out in the back and some zebra cakes.
Yeah.
But horse is really common out in Amsterdam. You go to Netherlands... Everywhere you go, horse is a very common meat. You may not get it in every restaurant, but most steakhouses will carry horse meat.
Okay.
So you can, and there's a few halal ones you can keep an eye out for.
Yeah.
There's a sizable Muslim community in Amsterdam, both revert and immigrants.
Yeah.
So you can find it if you look for hard enough.
Oh, that's dope, man.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, man. There were two things in Amsterdam I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I wanted to eat horse, and I wanted to go see the Anne Frank Museum, and I got to do both.
Dude, I think I've ate duck is as far as like.
Dang, you fancy. Oh, man.
Is as far as
I didn't realize I
like
was
exotic. I'll go like duck.
Living with a prince. Wow. What was this?
Dude, I've heard camel meat is pretty good too.
It is until you gotta make ghusl and waste half your day doing that.
Oh, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to make ghusl, like you have to shower until you pray.
Yeah, there's differences of opinion on it, but I think the Hanbali fiqh, they're pretty adamant about it. You eat camel meat, you got to go make ghusl after.
Why? Because it's like dirty or what?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know the details of it. I know that when I had camel meat, I did it as a precaution because what's it hurt?
Sure. Yeah.
Right. Like
just to shower up.
Yeah. Like
it
just gotta go pray anyways. Anyway,
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
It's the middle of the desert in Saudi. Shower's pretty convenient.
Yeah.
So we had camel burgers. We had camel kebsa.
Yeah.
In Dubai, we had camel burgers as well. And, we showered up right after.
So I'm going to ask this question. What is your favorite go-to meal? Like right now, if you could have something right now, right? Or like any time of the day. I'm sure, because you're a foodie, right?
Yeah.
And you have a very exquisite palate, right?
What he means to say is I'm picky.
You're pretty picky, but that's
I like quality.
not just that. I've noticed like you've when we've gone out to eat or even cooked stuff ourselves, you've said, this is it has too much of X, Y, and Z, right? Or just X, right? And I'm like, I'm just eating it because I'm eating it. I'm like,
Right.
there's a piece of meat, like this boti, right? Tastes great. Salt, like, yeah.
Those well done botis.
But your palate, it just like processes things differently, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm asking, what is your like? I'm sure people want to know.
It's pizza. Hands down.
Pizza?
It's pizza. I will eat.
But you're probably picky about pizza too, right?
Oh, I am very picky about pizza.
Yeah.
I have like every city I think in America that I've been to, and I've been to almost every major city now. I have a pizza place that is my go-to in that city.
Yeah.
I'll try local foods. Obviously, if you're in Texas, you're in Houston, you go and get some barbecue. You go out to Arizona and or New Mexico, you're gonna try like Sonoran food, and
Sure.
Go out to Cali, you're gonna get them fish tacos.
Yeah.
So you try your regional foods. But my go-to for every city that I've been to has been find a pizza spot that you can love. And that way, when all these other spots are closed or I'm just back at the hotel and I don't feel like going out, I know I got a pizza place on dial.
Okay, so find a pizza spot that you...
Yeah, so I would say every state's got one.
Okay.
Sometimes I might get a couple. And if I'm trying to experiment, bring them all in.
What's your favorite pizza? Deep dish, thin crust, pan?
Oh man, it don't matter. I don't discriminate.
Really? So every there's
a little bit of difference. Yeah,
Okay.
some pizzas end up being regional, right? Like you go to Chicago, their deep dish is what they know. So if you go to Chicago, you're going to get a deep dish pizza. But if you go to New York and you ask for a deep dish, you're gonna get hell for it.
You're gonna get shot.
Yeah. I think my favorite style of pizza is probably either Detroit style pizza.
How's that?
It's like a pan pizza meets deep dish. It's really crispy and crunchy at the bottom. It's very saucy on top, but it's not as thick as a deep dish, so it doesn't, not getting a mouthful of cheese. Yeah. Detroit pizza is pretty good. Motor City Pizza. Nice. There's a spot in New York that does Detroit pizza really well because I haven't been to Detroit. It's called Lions, Tigers, and Pizza, I think, and it's pretty money.
Damn.
Yeah, it's really money.
That's dope.
Deep, you get a little metal pan and you just dig in.
Yeah.
Sicilian, I love that thick crust. Thick crust is best.
Man, that's some knowledge. You just dropped some serious knowledge on folks.
Yeah.
Wow.
There are some pizzas that are a travesty that I won't try.
Well, like your major chains?
No. I don't eat Papa John's generally. Baba Yahya don't do it for me.
Baba Yahya.
Domino's ain't bad, man. Domino's stepped up their game.
They did.
They did. But I'd say that if you eat pineapple on pizza.
Oh man, here we go. We got the $1 million question here, right?
Yeah, you eat pineapple
That's
on
a controversial
pizza.
statement. Some might find this blasphemous, Mohsin Rehman.
No, the pizza world finds you blasphemous if you like pineapple on pizza.
Yeah, I never understood that.
Yeah,
like fruit on pizza?
In Sharia law states, states where Sharia law is strictly practiced, the punishment for pineapple on pizza is no pizza forever. They won't cut your hand off, but if you can't have pizza, what's the point of your hand anyways?
That actually makes very logical sense.
To the people who want pineapple on their pizza, Allah is watching, and He knows what you do, even in secret. Remember your Lord.
Wow, that's intense. That's intense. Yeah, I can see why someone wants sweetness mixed in. It's like sweet and sour sauce.
Yeah. That's what sweet tomatoes and sweet tomato sauce.
It's already
is for.
there. Yeah.
You get the sour tomato sauce, the real ripe stuff. You get the sweeter tomato sauce, and then New York style.
Yeah.
There's no need to bring in any of that stuff. That's not how it works. Italy ain't close to Hawaii. This ain't how life works.
It's a Hawaiian thing? It's
actually a Canadian thing. So it started in Canada.
Yeah.
They had these Canadian bacon pineapple pizzas.
Yeah.
Some guy had the idea that the pineapple juice would help mask the saltiness that came from the bacon, and it'd make a nice combination.
Yeah.
And that in and of itself lets you know how haram pineapple pizza is, because it has these
Started
roots.
with roots with bacon.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah,
man.
yeah. At least barbecue. We've got some deep African roots. We've got a lot of immigrant roots.
Yeah.
You go to Oklahoma barbecue. A staple in Oklahoma barbecue is tabbouleh.
Really?
Right? Like you go here,
Yeah.
you get some coleslaw, some beans, some mac and cheese.
Yep.
You go to Oklahoma spots, and they always have tabbouleh on the menu.
Wow.
Just because.
And for those of folks who don't know what tabbouleh is,
it's like a parsley salad, tomatoes, some spices. There's this guy Remy. He's got a whole song on it. It's called the Tabbouleh Dance. Check it out on YouTube.
Yeah.
They put it there as a side dish with their brisket, with their ribs, because there was such a large immigration of. At the time, there was no Lebanon, right? This was under Ottoman rule.
Yeah.
But after what would now be
a lot of history.
I do. There's something beautiful about knowing where your food comes from.
So if I can, go on a tangent here, how the heck did you find history so fascinating?
Indiana Jones.
Really?
It's Indiana Jones.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, my dad, it was McDonald's. My dad took me to McDonald's.
Dude, you're a nerd.
Oh yeah.
Like a cool nerd.
Yeah. I got barbecue, guns, and history. Like, what do you need? They all go together. I mean, I can tie all three back to the shaping of civilization.
There you go. So your dad,
he took me to McDonald's, and there was maybe my mom, one of my parents, took me to McDonald's, and they ran out of Happy Meal toys. But it was right around when Raiders of the Lost Ark came out on VHS.
Okay.
And they were having a McDonald's promotion for the movie.
For those of you that don't know what VHS is, it's a large plastic rectangular cubicle type
cassette.
It's like giant
with a magnetic tape.
Do people even know what
spins
cassette is?
It's a roll of magnetic tape that spins.
Yeah,
and if you don't rewind, always be kind.
Oh, trouble! Remember back in the day when like Blockbuster existed?
It charged you a $2 fee every time you didn't rewind your tape.
Man, Blockbuster missed out.
Yeah, man, I got my Blockbuster card in my wallet now. Still, you never know when it's gonna come back.
Isn't there like one Blockbuster that still exists?
Yeah, it's fake franchise.
Oh, it's fake.
Yeah, I don't think it's real. It might be. Okay. Bachata, the last one standing.
So back in VHS days.
Yeah, so they didn't have toys.
Yeah.
So they were giving out the movie.
Really?
And so I got the movie from McDonald's.
Yeah.
And I watched it. And I was always fascinated with archaeology and paleontology and dinosaurs and history. But it really came down to, like, back then it was just some documentaries you'd watch on Discovery Channel. But then Indiana Jones comes around with his whip and his leather jacket, his big leather fedora hat.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, he's like whipping it, dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
And how do you not love this guy? Like, he just goes around stealing golden skulls, getting shot at.
Yeah. But how did that get you
fighting Nazis?
How'd that get you into history?
Like, he was an archaeologist.
I see. Okay.
Raiders of the Lost Ark was him digging into the bottom of the pyramids to find the lost, to find not Noah's Ark, the Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah.
Right. So he goes down there, and the Ark of the Covenant is this. It's this relic. It's the most important relic in the Jewish world, in the Christian world. It contains the 10 tablets of Musa. So in reality, it's important to us. Like, we don't know where the 10 tablets of Musa are. Right? They're there. The 10 commandments are somewhere.
Commandments, right.
They believe it's in this ark. So it's just this movie based around finding this secret that's been buried for so long. And I love a good mystery. I love uncovering those mysteries.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Indiana Jones, Harrison Ford changed my life.
So it seems like there's like meaning behind some of the stuff that you get into, right? It's not just willy-nilly, wishy-washy, right? Like
No, I feel like there's always a story. There's always a childhood memory or a background, something to connect you back to it.
Yeah. Cool, man. So you said you're into guns.
Yeah.
So let's hold on 1 second. So you, for the folks, tell folks of your background, where you grew up.
Baltimore City. born and raised.
Inner city.
Yeah, inner city Baltimore. We
Wow.
didn't have a playground for me to spend my days.
That's intense, man.
But yeah, no. I mean, you grow up. I wouldn't change it for the world.
How's that like? Did you hang around a lot of Desis, like Arabs, like what? Like
yes and no. So
Okay.
when it came to our community, like the Muslim community, we had a very strong bond amongst like 5 or 6 families. We call ourselves like the original 10 families.
okay,
That
in that area.
that immigrated to Maryland, Baltimore very early on.
Okay.
Right? Like families who came in the 70s and just settled in the area. And there weren't many Muslims there at the time.
Yeah.
ISB at the time was a very, very small like basement of a setup. And
Yeah.
this was like, I think, 1969. And it grew slowly. There used to be a masjid out in Glen Burnie where a bunch of uncles used to pray in like a basement.
Yeah.
And it kind of
That's
expanded.
usually how it starts.
Yeah, there's always like some basement setup, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And that uncle who didn't charge rent gets Jannah.
Right.
Shout out to that uncle. All those uncles.
Yeah. Right. Yeah,
And so we had this very tight knit group. You know, so my parents, a couple of their friends who happened to have immigrated from Pakistan at the same time.
Yeah.
My uncle, he and my aunt, they immigrated right around the same time. So we had this community and we stuck to it.
Yeah.
But that was the weekend community,
Okay,
right? That
okay,
was those are the people we saw on the weekend, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
Going to my boy,
So,
like Haroon or AJ's house. We're going there and we're spending the night. Like that's what we're doing.
So who were like your boys? Like how did you what clique did you have?
There was a few.
Inner city. I mean, I can't imagine.
No, so that was the weekend crew, right? The Muslim crew.
Sure.
The inner city crew was I had 3, 4, 5 friends that we were really close with. These are the kids I went to school with.
Yeah.
Elementary, middle, high school. There's my boy Jerry, Ricky.
Yeah.
These were the guys that I was with every day.
Yeah.
They were at my house. I mean, Jerry was at my house eating parathe.
Yeah.
Like he'd come in at 7:00.
Yeah.
My mom would have parathe and saag for him.
Yeah, yeah.
She'd have parathe and saag for me.
Yeah.
And we'd eat parathe on the way to high school.
Right. Wow.
Right. And but there weren't Muslims per se. They weren't Desis per se. You were black, white, or Mohsin.
Sure. Black, white, or Muslim.
We had a kid who was like half white, half Asian,
Okay.
and
Blasian.
yeah, quite. He was
Quite?
half Korean. He was Korean.
Oh.
Quite. I don't
Quite.
know. So there wasn't a lot of ethnic diversity.
Yeah.
So I feel like I ended
You
up
were the
playing,
diversity.
Yeah, I was whatever you needed me to be. Whatever ethnic joke was going to be played out that day,
Yeah,
whether it was a
yeah.
Mexican joke or
Yeah.
a Muslim joke or an Arab joke.
You were.
I was the
Oh, man.
I was the representation for that community that day.
He looks Mexican. Oh, he looks Arab.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
looks, oh, he's brown.
Yeah, we'll just I can fill
You're
a lot
that
of
guy.
different. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was fun. I mean, I wouldn't trade it for anything. I had a great time growing up in Baltimore. I'm very proud of where we're the city that reads. We're the greatest city in America.
You're the city that what?
Reads.
Reads?
Yeah, reads. It's on every park bench in America. If you can read the park bench, you can read.
I mean, I've heard other things about Baltimore, as you guys say.
Rumors.
Rumors?
None of these, all unfounded rumors.
Something about if you want XYZ, Baltimore is this place to be.
Yeah, these are all unfounded rumors by a TV show. You may have heard of it. It was called The Wire. It spread a lot of fallacies and lies about our great city.
Yeah.
The city that invented the snowball, crabs, the ravens, Orioles.
What about the Star Spangled Banner?
Yeah, I mean, you guys exist. America, every sports event you do,
Yeah.
presidential inauguration, everything. Your little league events,
Yeah.
your high school graduations, your little I pledge allegiance to the flags in the morning.
Yeah.
It's our gift to America.
Oh.
Yeah. The Battle of Baltimore is the poem that eventually became the Star Spangled Banner.
Yeah.
Is about the event called the Battle of Baltimore.
Wow.
September 13th, 1814. Right? British came, couldn't beat us, knocked them back.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Wow.
America. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
So how did you get so Desi though? Like,
Oh, my dad. That's odd. So my parents
right?
were
Like
super strict.
Like you're this kid who grew up in inner city Baltimore schools.
Yeah.
Right. Public schools. Right. And you had, everybody but Desi friends. Right.
Yeah.
Like, okay, weekend crew, sure. But majority of your time was spent with, non-Desis.
Yeah.
So how the heck did you get into...
My mom is really, I don't know if to blame. is the right, right phrase. Credit.
Yeah.
My mom is to credit this.
Yeah.
Even my Desi friends weren't Desi.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, most of the Desis that I grew up with, they were pretty whitewashed.
Okay.
So I was the only Desi one amongst the Desis.
Well, like aapka kya hal hai?
Oh no, that's giving them some credit.
Oh, is it?
And my mom, when she moved to America, she wanted to watch Bollywood. It was what she was connected to, so she'd watch a lot of Bollywood.
Sure.
I watched a lot of Bollywood with her. That's what she watched at home, and we had one TV, so she watched it. I watched it. My dad, on the other hand,
You're a nice little acha bacha.
Oh, I was very acha bacha. I was acha bacha. Now I'm up all night.
Then you got
cooking.
into guns.
Yeah, then I got no. That's her fault too. But
what?
we'll get to that. Yeah, so she watched Bollywood. I watched Bollywood. My dad had a rule: you couldn't speak English in the house. Never.
I like that.
Ever.
Yeah, you're pretty cultured, I think, because of that, right?
So I appreciate it now. At the time, it sucked, right? Like, it was tough. Like, you had to try to think back. You're a kid. You're trying to remember an English vocabulary, and you're trying to remember, like, a Urdu vocabulary. Sure. And then in our case, we're Punjabi, too. So we're also learning, like, our Galian in Punjabi, you know?
Yeah, yes.
And so Dant is all in Punjabi.
It is. It really is.
And so you're learning this, like, hybrid. This my dad calls it Gulabi Urdu.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy that he pushed me to learn it.
Yeah.
Because I look at a lot of people I know and I'm like, your kids are going to grow up to be just a bunch of white kids with a tan.
Yeah.
You know, that's all. That's what you're passing on. You're passing on your tan. And I'm hoping that at least, inshallah, I'll be able to pass on a little bit of a culture.
Right.
Right.
I like that.
Right.
That's good.
Some tehzeeb.
Tehzeeb.
Yeah.
Dude, you drop some Urdu words. I'm just like, dude, this is not a real word.
Yeah. Look it up.
You're making
Google.
stuff up. You're making stuff up.
Google speaks Urdu.
Tehzeeb. Tehzeeb is a bakery shop in Pakistan. It don't mean nothing.
Hey man, don't knock their burfi. Burfi, great.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you had that influence with your parents.
Yeah, and Pakistan too. We made regular trips to Pakistan.
Okay.
As a kid, we'd go for shadis and stuff, and then my high school graduation, when I graduated, I went to Pakistan. I went for 3 months.
Yeah.
And I did a road trip. We did all of Pakistan. We drove to China.
Yeah.
We drove from Faisalabad, where we were staying, to Islamabad, and then from Islamabad all the way to China.
What, through the mountains?
Through the mountains. And this was before Karakoram. This is before, these like pansy sardakein. Hum highway pe ja rahe hain, none of that stuff.
I mean, all that stuff is sort of built now.
Yeah,
I mean, there's proper tourism.
Oh, yeah. Now it's like this legit safe experience north, right?
Yeah.
Quick drive.
Yeah.
12 hours you're in the mountains. It took us 60 hours, and there was a dirt road, and there were times where he would say lean to the right because the tires were no longer on the edge of the road, and it was straight cliff drop.
It was
and so
floating.
everybody shifted to the right.
Wow.
Yeah, and we were just floating. And I remember my cousins wouldn't let me sit on the mountainside because they're like, if you slip out, we're gonna get in so much trouble.
Oh man, you're born in America?
Yeah.
Oh man, you know how it is back home. It's like, crap.
Like baby, you gotta baby him.
As an American citizen, we got to take care of him. Like America's gonna attack us. If we lose him.
Blue passport.
He's got that blue passport.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So I got to experience Pakistan on my own.
Yeah.
Which helped me fall in love with the country, the culture, the people.
That's cool.
A lot more. Yeah. And then every trip after that was either I think I made 2 trips with my parents.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I made multiple trips on my own, and it was great. I just got to connect.
If someone asks you, "Hey, nice to meet you. Where are you from?" What's your answer?
Is my dad gonna watch this?
Maybe.
Yeah. Normally, I would say Faisalabad. That is what I know when I go back to Pakistan, because that's where I stay. That's where most of my dad's side of the family.
Like you meet somebody from work, like a work, someone from a new project. Hey man. Hey, really nice to meet you, pal. Yeah. Where are you from?
Oh, I'm from that.
So what
I'm Baltimore.
You say Baltimore?
Baltimore, yeah. Right, I'm a Baltimorean first.
Yeah.
Punjabis after.
Yeah.
Pakistani next. Asian American, whatever other superlatives you want to do. Baltimore on first.
No. I meant like where are you from?
Oh,
you know how people say that?
Yeah. Federal Hill. I was born in John Hopkins, Bayview. East Baltimore.
I guess like your background.
Right now it's white. I don't know.
Don't you find that annoying?
It is.
Like, dude.
But honestly, I'm like, I'm Pakistani.
Yeah. Okay. You do that. Okay.
Yeah. Baltimore on first.
Yeah.
Maryland are second.
Sure.
Pakistani third.
Maryland.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all can tell I'm rocking a Ravens hat right now.
Yeah, for me.
Yeah. You got me into football, and I support your Ravens for sure.
Yeah, when I moved here, the first week I moved here, my team played your team.
Really?
The Giants.
I don't remember.
And I watched that game alone here.
Yeah.
TV used to be right behind where this fancy piece of art is.
Yeah.
And it was a big game, right? That was the game that got us in. That was one of the games that got us towards.
That's the year that my team won the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah. But you lost to us.
I think we did.
Yeah, you lost to us. And I remember watching that alone, and you went to a friend of ours, Marva's house, to watch it. That was like my first time watching. And I didn't know you were a Giants fan at the time. So when you came home and I'm wearing my Ray Lewis jersey, you're like take that shit off.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Well, you're still rubbing it in.
Right here. The couch is right where I am now.
So Ravens, proud Baltimore moron. Is that Baltimore?
That's
or
our
Morian?
word. No, that's our word. You can refer to us as a Morian, Baltimorean.
Baltimorean.
We can say Baltimorean.
Why is that?
We've earned it.
What?
We survived. You get a card. It says, I survived Baltimore. It's like when you go to a amusement park, and at the end you can get a shot of you coming down the roller coaster. It's like the proof that you made it through the roller coaster.
Yeah.
You get that when you graduate from a Baltimore City public school.
Wow.
So I survived. I'm allowed to say Baltimorean.
So did you witness a lot of like gang violence and
no,
some of that other stuff?
I didn't. I mean, we had some incidents. There was some shootings and whatnot. Rest in peace, RR, Rara. But no, we didn't really. It wasn't as bad as I think people made it out to be everywhere. Yeah, definitely some tougher parts of town that you wouldn't visit on a regular. Yeah, maybe at least. I mean, you'd be fine during the day, but probably not going out Lakeland at night. Yeah, but no, it was tough.
So you identify in a multitude of ways, right? So, and you're cultured, you're born American, right? You got this barbecue joint, going for you. And where does guns come into the play? Like, where does
my mom and my dad?
Because I remember, I was shit scared of guns.
Yeah. You should. You have every right to be with what happened to you after. He had a situation. Yeah. But I grew up around them. My dad loved to hunt. My mom loved to hunt. My nana used to be very outdoorsy, and my mamus are all very outdoorsy. And my nana boo would take my mom, my grandfather would take my mom on shikar hunting with him. Because he always had these posts. He made canals. Like he was in charge of making canals in Pakistan in like rural areas, bringing water to these communities. Sure. So he'd go out into these rural areas and then oversee the building of the canals. Yeah. And while he's out there, he'd hunt. And so my mom used to hunt with him. So she really liked it. And he gave her a revolver. And she used to sleep with this revolver under her pillow. Like, she's probably like a young teen. Yeah. And so when my parents got married, they used to like to hunt too. And one of my very early memories is it was just me. My brother and sister hadn't been born yet. But we went to West Virginia to go deer hunting. And my one cousin, he lived up in Buffalo, and he drove down just because he heard the rumor that we were going to go shoot stuff. Yeah. And so he came down, and I remember we were staying in some motel or shack or something. Yeah. And I have this a lot of really early memories of my dad going hunting and my mom joining him. Yeah. Fishing too. My dad is a big fisherman. He's got 60 fishing rods in a shack. Yeah. In a barn behind my parents' house now, and they love being outdoors. And my dad doesn't love eating the meat as much. I clearly got that from my mom because my mom will eat meat all day and never touch a vegetable. Okay. My dad, on the other hand, is a little bit more sparing on the meat and loves his salads. Right. So I got that from my mom, I think. The guns.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. So you have I'm guessing you have rifles or guns.
I do. I don't have any handguns. I don't. Honestly, it's not that I have anything against them. I think revolvers are very cool. Yeah. I just don't feel comfortable holding one. They just don't fit maybe my body type. I haven't found the right gun.
Okay.
But rifles, I grew up, my dad was 8. I was 8 when my dad gave me my first gun.
Yeah.
He gave me a Mossberg 630 12 gauge. It was a big shotgun for a little kid. I was really small.
Would you like fly 5 feet back?
Yeah, it was tough. I remember shooting it and hurting. Like I remember my dad holding my shoulders and making sure I didn't fall backwards.
Yeah. Wow.
But that was a great gun. I still have it.
Wow.
You know, it was my chachu's gun. It was my uncle's gun. When he passed away, he left it to my dad. My dad gave it to me.
Oh wow. So it's like a
sentimental. It's not the best gun in the world. It's not the prettiest gun in the world. I think he bought it in Montgomery Ward for like $100.
Hey, still.
Yeah, like I don't know if for anybody who remembers what Montgomery Ward is.
It gets passed down. That's tight.
Yeah, so I got that. Got some older guns. I've got the 1862 Rossi, which is this old. It's this just old gallery Winchester. It shoots 22. It's just something to go ding ding ding, hit the targets.
Yeah, like like a BB gun.
It's not a BB gun. It shoots 22, so it shoots bullets, but
but
very
I don't
small.
know anything about guns.
Oh yeah, they're real tiny little guys. And then I recently got the gun that they used to shoot the T-Rex in Jurassic Park. Very proud of that. It took a long time to find.
Yeah.
And I took it out for a spin a couple of weeks ago.
That's that lever action, right?
Yeah, the Marlin 1894 SBL.
Wow.
Big boy.
Wow.
Yeah. In fact, if you go on their website, you pull up all their guns and you can look up what animal you want to hunt, right? Are you hunting bear? You're hunting duck? You're hunting deer or turkey?
Right.
You select the animal.
Is there an image of an intruder?
Yeah. There might be. But yeah, so you say you want to select a bear.
Sure.
Shows you bam, bam, bam. Every gun that's calibered big enough to shoot a bear.
Okay.
Turkey. These are the bullets small enough to shoot a turkey. You don't want to shoot a turkey.
Yeah, you don't want to
big
blow it up into pieces.
You're not left with the turkey. You're left with chicken.
You're left with shorba.
Yeah. Thanksgiving in one pull.
Yeah.
And but they have one option, and you click on, and so you have all these animals listed, and they have a picture of a T-Rex.
Okay.
And on their website, you click on T-Rex, and it filters all the guns that you can use to kill a T-Rex.
Yeah.
And this is the only one that comes up.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So.
Wow.
I'm ready. Jurassic Park. Let's do it.
What if we have an apocalypse? You're ready. You're ready to go. You got all these rifles. You got
Not really. Ammo's really expensive right now.
Yeah. COVID.
Yeah.
What? Everybody's like.
Yeah,
panicking?
man. Ammo ain't cheap. People think that America has guns everywhere. We got guns. We ain't got no bullets.
So you, I'm guessing, obviously, you are a proponent of gun ownership.
Oh man, asking the questions that are gonna.
Second Amendment.
I think the Second Amendment is very important.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it does differentiate us from other countries.
Yeah.
Sometimes in a bad way. School shootings, mass murders.
Yeah.
What I think America needs to do is find a way to implement mental health checks, mental health awareness with gun purchasing.
Yeah.
Right? Maryland had instituted something very interesting where to get a handgun, you also needed to have a doctor write off to say that, hey, this
guy's not crazy.
This person's stable enough to handle it. Right? Like, I don't see...
Oh, he's crazy, but he's just stable enough to handle it.
Let me look. No, he doesn't look like he has any darkness in him. But in many states, you have to go through rigorous background checks. While here in Virginia, I can go into the Walmart parking lot and buy an AK-47 out of someone's trunk.
Hypothetically.
Speaking. Yeah, hypothetically speaking. Yeah. I mean, hypothetically, the Expo 28
off
South
of Capitol
Walmart,
Expo. Yep. Mm-hmm.
would be
Chantilly, Virginia. Hypothetically.
Hypothetically. Yeah, you can buy an AK. Like, no questions asked. And they're like, are you a felon? No. Okay, well, here's your gun. No paperwork. No
nothing.
Background check. Nothing.
You can have a fake ID.
Yeah. Just here's the money.
Yeah.
Take the gun. You, as long as you said you're not a felon and you're a Virginia state resident, you walk away.
So what if that gun falls into like the wrong hands?
When it was first purchased, it was registered to you. Now you can say you sold it, and then the cops will go down that road, and you can try to provide proof of who you sold it to. But there's no recorded record system, right? You can, if you want to, you can do this sale in front of a police officer.
Like if I have an AK, right? Hypothetically. And I sell it to you, right? Mm-hmm. If I'm paranoid, right, about my own safety and everything, I'm gonna be like, dude, let me see your license. I'm gonna take a picture of it, just so I have it for
No, you can go to a state police officer,
okay,
and have them witness it, and then they can register this sale. Right?
Okay.
They can make a record that this was witnessed passing from one owner to the next.
So you don't have to.
But that's not a requirement.
You don't have to register your guns in Virginia.
No, just walk away with that joint. I mean, in Maryland, you need to register your handguns, but you don't need to register your rifles. Rifles can be passed amongst family and stuff without any registration. So, I think America needs much stricter gun laws.
Yeah.
Not that you can't own a gun. I have many. I love them. I shoot them. I like to hunt.
Yeah.
I think that.
I mean, in Pakistan, people get married and they're just fire. Yeah, they're just fire away, right? It's like instead of fireworks, you're gunshots.
Yeah. Which is crazy because Pakistan has very strict gun laws and it's very hard to own a gun.
Oh, does
Pakistan.
it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very hard to own one unless you know somebody on the inside. But here it's very easy to own one. So I think that they need to find a way to take mental health and put that in, because you're not getting stable people shooting up schools. You're not getting stable people shooting up movie theaters and malls. These are people who have major issues.
Yeah.
And we need to find a way to better regulate who gets a firearm.
Yeah.
If that means that less people can buy them, by all means. Or if tomorrow the only cure for this was to say, let's give rid of them all, I will give all mine up. I have no problem doing it.
You would?
I would.
Really?
Yeah, man. The safety of our kids is more important than anything. Yes, I love my guns.
Yeah.
I think it's fun.
You're not going to feel like, oh, my rights are being infringed upon.
Yeah. The tyrant King George is long gone. Tyrant Trump isn't going to be here that much longer, hopefully. So I'm not worried about my guns, but I am worried if I'm willing to give up my guns and it might inspire someone else to give theirs up and it saves lives at a school.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
So that's a very educated answer, right?
But if we incorporated mental health, visiting a doctor, visiting a psychologist or a psychiatrist before you purchased a gun, them having to write a prescription to say, okay, this guy is mentally healthy enough to buy a gun.
Why is that not normal? Why is that not put in place?
Yeah, this is a weapon.
That just sounds. That just sounds
it's
normal.
It's not a toy. Let's not kid ourselves. It is a weapon.
Yeah.
And a gun is a weapon of mass destruction.
You have to pass tests to get a job.
Yeah, to get a driver's license,
right?
you have to rigorously go through all these, and yet I can go and buy a gun from the back of a trunk, and it's 100% legal. So I do think that we need much tighter regulation. I think that America should have a buyback program for, there's no reason, I think, for an assault rifle to be on the street. Those are military grade weapons.
It's semi-automatic, right?
Yeah, semi. Yeah, with a little bump stock.
Yeah, you're right. That
is a
weapon.
I can say that my rifle, right? I have a Weatherby, very long distance gun. It's a 30-06, beautiful gun. I mean, you can drop an elephant with this gun, but it shoots one bullet at a time.
Yeah.
Right, and then I pull.
You're gonna
the bolt
die
up.
by the time you put in the next bullet.
Yeah, this is a gun designed to hunt my food. Right, bring down a deer, which then I will smoke and serve to you guys.
Yeah.
So I did it for you.
All right.
But you're not hunting deer with a AK-47, AR-15, right? Tavor. These guns were not designed to do that. They are made to hunt people.
Why is that?
It is a weapon. Right?
A bullet's
Absolutely.
a bullet, right?
A bullet. Yeah, you're right. A bullet's a bullet and a weapon's a weapon. But a deer is not going to be right next to you. That thing's going to be 100 yards away. And there are people out there good enough to knock a deer down with an AR-15 at 100 yards. But I bet you get a lot more people knocking that deer down with a 30-06 or an infield.
Because it's designed
for that purpose. The AR, the guy who made the AR, the guy who made the Kalashnikov, these are people with the intention to kill people. They had no intention of deer hunting. Their intention was oppression and murder of people. And
so what about defense? I got to defend myself.
Yeah, so if you have an army coming down on you, that AK ain't going to save you anyways. You're going to burn through that clip and that army's going to get you anyways.
Yeah.
And if defense it's home defense.
What if I have a bunker?
You don't have a bunker? Why is this an if?
What if I have a bunker? Oh, you tell me I don't have a bunker?
Why don't you have a bunker?
I'm just saying.
Why is it hypothetical? Why is there an if? I mean, you have younger siblings.
Maybe I just want to, just carry a lot of weapons.
Yeah, I mean, you have the right to as an American. I have the right to judge you for what you do with those weapons and how you present those weapons to the world. If you want to keep your AK, keep your AK. If you want to keep your AR, keep your AR. But don't give me some bullshit excuse that, oh, it's my defense and it's for hunting. Because I can defend myself with my shotgun far better than you could with your AK. If you got to sit there and spray,
and I can defend myself with these guns.
Right? There you go. Like, right? You don't need. And if you are
welcome to the gun
so
show.
bad at shooting a gun that you need something that gives you a spread, then you were playing with the wrong toy.
Yeah.
Get better.
And sometimes
get a gun where you shoot and the other one falls.
Yeah. I mean, dude, let's just be real. I think sometimes people play mind games, right? Like you trick yourself. You justify things in your head just so you can get what you want.
Yeah.
Right? But if you just step outside the box, get outside your own head, you would never make that decision rationally.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So I think a lot of us we do certain things in our life just to kind of because we want it, right? And maybe it's cool, maybe we want to have it.
Yeah.
Right? And maybe it's fun, right? But any sort of logical, rational, thought process would not make you make that decision.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if home defense is your intention, you're defending your home, a shotgun is the gun to go with. You're not going to use a AK-47 to defend your apartment, right? Yeah. This apartment is too small for that gun.
Right.
You're not going to do any damage to the person you're trying to kill. You're going to do damage to the guy upstairs.
Yeah.
So
even a handgun, you don't want to have a handgun in this apartment.
Yeah,
either.
I mean, hypothetically speaking, if someone was cleaning their gun in this apartment and hypothetically someone who's not me, but someone else may hypothetically have been cleaning a gun in this apartment, and then they don't realize that there's a bullet in the chamber and they're playing with it and click, and
then boom,
and then let me dry fire against the wall and then boom, and then next thing you know, there's a hole going through the wall going over someone's toilet.
Yep.
And 2 years later, we find a bullet embedded in the wall.
And that's why you have to renovate the bathroom.
And now there is no bathroom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All because of one bullet.
Yep. There's no bathroom.
Wow. Yeah, that's you present it in a way that's very thoughtful. There's a purpose behind it, right? It's not just I want to have a gun, so let me just freaking have a gun, right? Like there's levels to it.
Yeah, it's a weapon, and it has more than one bullet in it, right? My average gun can hold about 10 rounds. That's a weapon of mass destruction. When does it have to be? What's the number that has to be to call it mass, right? You just wiped out 10 people with this gun.
Right.
So you have to be able to understand that you hold something very dangerous in your hands, something that requires immense responsibility and respect.
So you're not of the mindset that I want to keep a gun or a collection of guns for self-defense.
No, I absolutely am. That's what my shotgun is for. That's what my uncle bought the shotgun for.
Like 5 shotguns?
Yeah. Why do I mean, yes, toys are fun. They're fun to shoot. They have different, they fire differently. You want to enjoy them when you're at the range.
Sure.
But if you're going to use them for their purpose, which is the killing of things, then if that's your excuse, if that's the reasoning why you define why you want guns, then you need to be able to say and not be a hypocrite and say, well, then I have a gun for this defense. That's what his job is, right? But if you have 300 guns, which is allowed, by all means, have 300 guns. It's a legal American right. Then call it what it is. It's not self-defense. It's fun.
It's bullshit. It's fun.
Yeah, man. You're just trying to have a good time, trying to shoot.
Yeah.
Just barrels of hay or targets or whatever it is. Just
own your shit.
Exactly. Don't give me some bullshit answer. Oh, I'm trying to protect my family.
Yeah.
There ain't enough hands to shoot 300 guns in this family.
Right.
What kind of khandan you talking about? There ain't no 300 bache in your khandan.
Right.
So why so many guns?
Be realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to have toys, you want to have different guns for different things. There are guys out there who can afford to have 10, 15 cars or 30 cars.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every car rides differently. You want to do different things with them. But call it what it is. Don't say, oh, yeah, I just need them so I can commute to work. It's not a commuter car. You ain't putting your kids in the back of that freaking Ferrari.
So let's talk about something light, man. How do you balance, like you seem like a pretty cool guy, right?
Sure.
You see, you got your Desi, right? You're cultured. You're American. You're pretty American. I think you're more American than some Americans, honestly.
Yeah, I'd say that.
Right?
Yeah.
You know a lot of your history. You're proud of where you were born, the city that you were born. You know the history of that city, right? You can quote facts, right? Sometimes I think you make shit up. Like it just, it just sounds. I'm like, dude, that can't be
1814. Look it up.
Do not believe this guy.
1814. Look it up.
Right? Like but you present information in a more like as a matter of fact type of way, right? And when you do mention those facts, so you got that sort of dynamic. You got the Deen game, right? Like you're cultured, you're Pakistani, you're American. You have all these sort of how do you find balance, right? Where did you learn to find balance? I think a lot of for the younger cats battling their identity.
Yeah.
Right. It's just like, yo, am I American? Do I belong in this country? Is this me? Especially now with the culture now, right? It's like, oh, go back to your country.
Yeah.
Like, bitch, this is my country.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm more American than you are.
Right.
So like, how does someone like you, who's been born here, right, and has connections overseas, because you're an immigrant, right? Well, your parents are immigrants. You're not an immigrant.
Yeah.
But you still maintain that cultural connection. How does someone like you balance the Deen, right? The hobbies, right? The Americanness of it all, right? Like, talk to me about that.
How do you balance all that? You don't.
Okay.
You don't balance anything.
But where
So-
okay.
The beauty of America is a merger of the world, right?
Okay.
The only people that are native to this country are the Native Americans, right? They are the only people who have claim to this land historically.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Thousands of years these people have been here.
Yeah.
Their culture, right? Like we always we have this image that Native Americans are just this one big brown group of brown folk or red folk or guys out, some in the plains, some over here. Like we have these like
Don't be using red folk up in this podcast, dog, with the
No,
Redskins.
man,
The Washington football team.
Washington football team. No, man, we're gonna have to be a little racist with this because we have this white imagery in our head of this one singular nation of Native Americans or Indians going coast to coast. They're all the same,
Okay.
right? These guys are European and these guys are not.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So that they're the only ones with the claim to this country. All of us, we come on the legacy of the Europeans that came here before us. Right? They decided to make this country and we followed in their footsteps to get here. So when we get here, we bring our Desi culture with us. We bring our Arab culture with us. And
Hispanic culture, any culture.
Whatever culture,
Polish culture.
Asian, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Polish.
Yeah.
You have the Irish. Like everybody brings a piece of home with them.
Yeah.
And then now that we have this established country, and we're all bringing little pieces of ourselves with us. But the whole point of this country was to create a home for immigrants. Even the European colonists who came here had a reason to come here, right? They immigrated. Like Maryland was
They're
founded.
facing oppression, right?
Yeah, some were facing oppression.
Okay.
But and then they came here and they
Or like
oppressed,
persecution.
and then they came here and impressed millions of Native Americans, and
African Americans.
African Americans.
Right.
But like Maryland was founded by Catholics, right? They needed a sanctuary for Catholics because Catholics couldn't live in England anymore.
Okay.
Right. The English state kingdom was becoming Protestant, so the Catholics needed a safe haven. The flag of the state of Maryland.
This guy is an encyclopedia, ladies and gentlemen. All right, go ahead.
So the flag of the state of Maryland is a very Catholic flag. It has Catholic roots in it. And so when you talk about balance, you have to think back to why are we here? We're not here to be Pakistani. We're not here to be Irish. We're here to be American. And what this tethered quilt of different cultures comes together, it creates food. It creates languages.
Yeah.
Right? It's creating culture. You have Pakistani rappers, right? Inspired by Eminem. You've got Korean Mexican fusion going on, right?
Yeah.
That's not a balance. That's just accepting all the different parts of you and being American, right?
So the identity of America or American is just a hodgepodge of identities?
Yeah, that's all we are. So when we singularly as a person come, like my parents are immigrants, right? I grew up Pakistani, I grew up American too, grew up like a Baltimorean. I can't make those identities separate, right? I have to make sure that I just accept all of them and let them bleed into whatever direction they need to go.
Okay.
Right?
So you own it.
Yeah.
You accept it.
You are who you are. And I'll give you an example. Right before this interview started,
Yeah.
a coworker texted me.
Yeah.
I have this group chat where we discuss barbecue at work.
Yeah.
And he says, he sends me a picture of a bottle of whiskey.
Okay.
And because I don't drink.
Astaghfirullah
I know,
al-azim.
astaghfirullah, man. Astaghfirullah. And I'll get to that part, actually, the Toba part.
Yeah.
And so I discuss barbecue and they discuss scotch. They
Right.
love their scotch and whiskey.
Well, we got to talk about
Right?
Halanels too, how that...
Oh, yeah. And it's connected to this fact. So they send a picture of a bottle of Lagavulin, which, if you don't know, is a very like high-end Scottish scotch.
Dude, you're a Muslim. How the hell do you know all this history of Scotch, huh?
I like Scotland. Scotland's a cool place.
Oh, right.
Favorite country. So the bottle is the Ron Swanson edition
Yeah.
because in the show, Ron Swanson loves Lagavulin.
Okay.
So he goes to Scotland, and then in real life, the company makes a Ron Swanson edition of that liquor.
Oh, interesting.
And I love Parks and Rec, so they sent a picture of it. They're like, look, the Ron Swanson edition. It's really rare.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that'd be so cool to have, but it's not. I can't
it's
have
not
it.
cool. I can't have
like
it.
I can't. I
don't
wish
drink.
it'd be cool to own, but I can't have that. It's haram.
Yeah.
But I didn't use the word haram. And my coworker was like, here, I'll make a deal with you. You send it to me.
Yeah.
I will drink it. I will empty the bottle of all the haram.
Yeah.
And then I'll send you the bottle back. And I was just like, how did this guy know the word haram?
Yeah.
Like, who taught you that word? That's our word.
Yeah. That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
At least he knows that, right?
Yeah, they know that I'm not going to drink. I work at a place that, liquor does flow freely.
Yeah.
And I don't drink. So they joke about it, right? I'm like the company's DD. For all you halalis, I mean, designated driver.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I was just like, he was like, yeah, since everything inside is haram, we'll take care of that for you. Then we'll let you have the cool Ron Swanson bottle after. And I was like, I haven't replied yet. I was like, man, this is awesome.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I like the fact that, a lot of folks who know other cultures.
Yeah.
Right? And it's just,
it's awesome.
And honestly,
I love it.
It is awesome. But when you look at it in a different light, I kind of feel some sort of way that I'm surprised when they are, when they know it. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it catches you off guard. Like, I didn't expect him to show me a picture of liquor.
but I think that's messed up.
and then say haram. And I'm
Right.
like, whoa.
Like, maybe that person is like, dude, why the hell are you surprised?
Yeah.
But like, I don't want to give off that sort of vibe that, oh, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
And that, oh, you actually know that? Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. But it is pleasant.
Yeah.
That other folks
Creep in Sharia, baby.
creep in Sharia vis-a-vis Halanels.
Yeah. That is why we started Halanels, Creep in Sharia. That's actually our secret ingredient. Sharia law.
Hey, is Halanels halal?
Oh, it depends on who you ask. It is in the name.
Yeah.
But if you ask our cousins, Har and Ami, they might give you a different answer.
I think it's amusing when people ask you if it's halal.
Non-Muslims, every time, Hal and Al's barbecue.
Yeah.
Halal barbecue. That's awesome. Muslims, is anything halal?
Is it hand slaughtered, bro?
Yeah. Like, oh my God, don't get me started on hand slaughtered. Damn, man, don't get me started on that. But no, yeah, and no one can see the pun in it. No one sees Hal and Al's halal barbecue. But the non-Muslims, they get it right off the bat. It's like clicks. They don't even see the and.
Yeah.
Like, either you guys are really clever,
Yeah.
or you're all dyslexic and you don't see the and sign.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
well, it's one of the two, but regardless, you get the name. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's an art to barbecue too, right? I know we touched on barbecue before, but it's like the smoke, because I like the heavy smoky flavor, right?
Yep.
But you you have that exquisite palate, right? You're just like,
Yeah.
I need a little bit more paprika. I'm like, dude, how the hell do you know what paprika is gonna affect this?
Yeah.
So like,
there's an art to it. You're right. Yeah. Some people like to say cooking is a science, but it isn't, because a science is very meticulous and even-minded. You have a set of rules and you follow them and you get the same result over and over and over again. You're not going to get that with barbecue. There's no every brisket's the same, so you follow the same set of rules.
Yeah, all the Desi uncles know how to do barbecue.
Yeah, exactly. You know them with their jali chapli kebab burgers that they think is Fourth of July, which could be the tapestry of America that I was mentioning earlier. But they're just terrible. They're not very good cooks.
So tell the kids about what true barbecue is. What's true barbecue? Is it me with a little grill in the park and grilling? So I'm like, hey guys, we're gonna have a barbecue.
This is a interview exclusive that I've been working on. I've been working on a book.
Okay.
It's called The Fiqh of Barbecue.
The Fiqh of Barbecue. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
First mention.
Yeah.
And one of the things that
it's trademarked. It's copyrighted. Don't try to take that shit, people.
Yeah, seriously. You know who I'm referring to.
Yeah.
Don't take it.
Ooh, he's got that Amrish booty eyes.
Yeah. Yeah. So barbecue is quintessential to civilization, right? What true barbecue is what it is to you. It doesn't have to be my point of view where I do pellet barbecue or charcoal barbecue. The next guy, personally, I don't think that somebody who makes food on a gas grill is really making barbecue, because what's the difference between that and your chula in the kitchen already? You're just doing it outside. But that's my opinion. The point of barbecue is to cook it over a fire. Your source of fire can define who you are within the barbecue community.
Okay.
But the reason we cook over fire, and the reason why you go anywhere in America and they love barbecue, right? Barbecue is what you do on a Saturday. That is what you do on 4th of July.
Yeah. Memorial Day, picnic.
In Pakistan, evening comes, they got the coal going, they got barbecue. You go to South Africa, barbecue is such a big part of South African culture, right?
I'm hungry now.
Way bigger than American in some ways.
You brought a brisket too, right? For the show?
Yeah, I did. Right. Brisket. Barbecue is what makes human civilization, because there was a time where the children of Adam spread, right? They went in different directions.
I like how you're tying in Deen to this.
Oh yeah, it's the fiqh of barbecue. Okay.
Okay.
So humans spread across the world, right?
Sure.
Native Americans are our brothers and sisters.
Yes.
We share our blood with them.
Sure.
The Siberians, the Chinese, the brothers in Namibia, wherever you go, we're all connected. We are a family. Like our genetic tree comes back to a singular root. And whether you think it's Adam alayhi salam or you think it's the cradle of civilization, right, in the Horn of Africa towards Ethiopia, but regardless, genetics proves that we're all we had a central place and we spread from it, different haplogroups and so on.
Sure.
So as we spread, you'll find that we spread separately. We weren't very large groups. Human population was very small. And it was when fire was discovered.
Okay.
In any of these communities.
Yeah.
In the dark of the night, right? You're alone. You know nothing. You've been lost in the wilderness, right? There's nothing out there. There's no city to go to. This is before cities existed. You're lost in the woods. You're just trying to survive. Saber-toothed tigers out to eat you.
Yeah.
Real thing. Humans and saber-toothed tigers lived side by side at one point. And the mammoths.
Yeah.
People don't realize how far back humanity goes, but
what was it?
When
10,000
the pyramids
years?
were being built, the mammoths were already roaming America. That's how old the pyramids are.
Wow.
Right? We don't associate. We always think mammoths are these extinct creatures that were so long ago, but in
billions
reality,
of years ago.
Yeah,
No.
but that's not the case. When the pyramids were being built, mammoths were still alive.
Wow.
And we were hunting and eating them. They are mammoths with spears and arrow tips found in their bones.
They didn't have any lever action guns back then?
They didn't have the Marlin and Henrys yet, but they were getting there. They got the old school ones.
Okay.
So you're wandering in the wilderness, and someone sparks up a fire.
Okay.
Right, distance. You see a fire.
Yeah.
Like a bug, like any bug, or in the middle of the night, what do bugs do? They're
Go towards
attracted
it
to the fire.
Yeah.
It's a very natural thing. If you're camping, fire pit, everyone's attention is on the fire. You can have conversations. You're in the middle. You have all your tents around.
Why is that? Is that because of warmth? Is that because of light?
It's
What is
light
that?
in the darkness.
Because that heat's gonna burn
Right?
your ass.
Well, it's light in the darkness,
Sure.
right? If you're out in the middle of the woods and you see light over there, you're going to go towards the light.
Okay.
If you're going to, when you get to that light, you're going to find warmth, right? It's that light is going to protect you from the predators out in the woods.
Yeah.
Now there's someone else who just came towards that fire.
Yeah.
There's another person who just came towards that fire, and that first community was born. Now they're cultivating that fire. They're trying to make sure it doesn't die out. They're adding stuff to see what keeps it alive.
Yeah.
Right? Science is born.
Yeah.
And then one day, someone is dumb enough to drop their food into it.
Okay.
Like, whoops, what happens when I drop this mammoth into it?
You're right.
And next thing you know, steak is born, right? So barbecue, in a very broad sense, comes back to human civilization, comes back to that fire. So we do barbecue. People who do barbecue in their backyards, they're looking for fire to be their central gathering place.
Oh, I
A
see.
source of heat, a source of light, a source to prepare your food, because now our stomachs can't handle raw meat, right? There was a point where we could probably consume
Yeah.
raw meat, but over time we have lost that ability. We have lost those enzymes. We have lost that
Whatever,
the microbes in our digestive system.
The mitochondria.
Yeah, we got those from our mom.
Yeah.
Good looks, mom. So fire brought us all together 10,000 years ago, and it brings us together today, whether it's on 4th of July, whether it's on Memorial Day.
Yeah.
The central key to every barbecue isn't the meat, right? Because there's people who don't eat meat on their barbecue grill. They'll eat asparagus,
They'll put corn.
corn, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't eat those things, but if you want to, I'm not judging you, whatever.
Are there vegetable? I think there's lettuce on that burger, man.
No, stop it alone.
There's lettuce on that burger.
No. It's just green from the dye. It's the lighting.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, lettuce is haram. Fire is the central story of humanity. It is the central story of Greek mythology, right? Prometheus steals the fire from the gods. It is central to our faith, right? Like fire is described in Jahannam. Fire is described as something that was trying to hurt Ibrahim.
Right.
But
Yeah.
right? But like then you have fires that are mentioned through the stories of Rasulullah, where like when they're going to Mada and Saleh and they have like their campfire and they're like, don't go towards Mada and Saleh, just stay over here by the fire. So fire.
Story of Musa too, right? Musa alayhi salam?
Yeah, the burning bush.
Yeah.
Yeah. So every culture, every religion, it doesn't matter. You can go with whether you're Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist, Christian, Jewish, it doesn't matter. There is a connection to fire somewhere, right? Look at the Zoroastrian faith, very strong connection to fire. It's important to us in every aspect, from our food to bringing us all together. And that's why we do barbecue. So how you do barbecue, what true barbecue is, it doesn't matter. As long as that fire that you and your family are getting around keeps you together.
I guess I was just more asking, like an expert like you. Do you go to like barbecues and you're just like,
I judge the shit out of all of you.
you do?
Oh yeah.
You're just like, man, these guys do not know how to do barbecue. What is this?
So I tried.
You've got a gas grill. You've basically got a chula.
When I get invited to barbecues, I do my best to stay quiet.
Okay.
Right. I feel like if I gave my opinion, I'd insult someone's chache ka putar ka, somebody.
Yeah.
So I try to stay quiet. But yeah, if you use a gas grill, if your name is Hank Hill and you sell propane and propane accessories, there's no place for you in my home.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, no. Gas does not produce. I mean, if you're going to just do that, then cook on your chula.
Yeah.
Cook
Stove.
Cook on that stovetop you got, Like, why are you going outside? Again, it's because you were trying to create that environment.
Right?
It's fire's fire.
Right.
But from a flavor perspective, you're not getting anything. You are not a grill master.
You're not a pitmaster.
Yeah, that is not who you are.
Yeah.
You are creating that ancient human tradition of being around a fire and eating your food. But the art and the beauty, whether or not you are creating something that is worth eating.
Yeah.
No, you're not. You're making something that you could have made in your kitchen. It's an imitation of what it should be.
So let me ask you something on that note. If I put a little metal grate, right, on my stovetop, and I put a metal grate on a little grill outside, and I cook whatever, meat, burgers, right? Is it going to taste the same?
Yeah.
It will?
Yeah.
Really?
Tastes the same. Gas is gas, man.
Gas is gas?
Natural gas and propane might have their tweaks, but gas is gas.
So what, charcoal? Charcoal's your thing? Or
I have a lot of pellet smokers. Everybody knows that. The people in the barbecue community will call it a cheat code or an easy bake oven.
Okay.
And the reason I use those is...
easy bake oven?
Yeah. That's a common thing they're called in the barbecue community. They're easy bake ovens. I use those for consistency.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Right? When you're making 10, 15, 20, 30 briskets at a time and you need them to be exactly the same, you get a lot more consistency.
Of course, yeah.
With crushed
just
pellets.
A business
But
decision,
if I'm making food for myself,
Yeah.
by all means, no doubt, charcoal is the way to go. Big lump jumbo charcoal made by Fogo, made by XL, Rockwood. These are brands that make this charcoal that you get it hot, you drop your meat right in. You've seen it.
I remember.
It's called Cowboy Grill, Cowboy style.
I remember eating a burger.
Or Caveman style, sorry. Caveman style.
No. I remember eating a burger. This dude, honestly, my mouth is watering just thinking about that.
I cried. No exaggeration.
He did have tears.
It was a half brisket, half chuck burger, and got the coal going. It was this really nice coal too. It was Fogo coal. It was the Fogo Premium.
Yeah.
Got it really hot, red hot,
Yeah.
and then we just dropped the patties on the flat pieces of coal.
Like on the coal. Forget the grate.
And
There's no
so
grate.
it's called caveman style.
Directly
right?
on the
just
coal.
drop it right in.
I was
there.
like, dude, what the hell are you doing?
And it just had, I had black pepper, Telecherry black pepper was my favorite black pepper, and smoked salt. And the combination was just, I remember there were other people there and they didn't get to try it because honestly, I only made enough for us because like y'all gonna show up last minute, you ain't getting enough.
All right.
I cried. It was straight up, that commercial you see, like a tear
His
of
eyes
happiness.
watered.
Yeah, it was a magical moment.
It was just, I was like, dude, what? It was pretty good. It was. Why was it so delicious?
The purity of human civilization in one bite.
You think so?
Yeah. That was it. That was what we experienced what our ancestors experienced 10,000 years ago in Africa.
Dude, I mean,
that was the moment.
Because real talk, I was like, dude, that's not sanitary. Like you just dumped meat into ash.
Oh no, charcoal is as sanitary as it gets.
That's what I was thinking, right?
I mean, they don't do it as often now, but when you ingest a poison, you go to the hospital. What do? They make you eat activated charcoal, right? Activated charcoal tablets.
Oh, is that what it
absorbs? It absorbs poison, toxins. It's a very old method. You make somebody eat black charcoal, and it helps absorb poison if they've been poisoned. Very ancient. Obviously, in today's modern technology, we don't have to do that anymore. But it's a very old school way of drawing and extracting poisons.
Okay.
And so carbon is as pure a form of food that you can possibly have, right? It's the most pure form of fuel.
Yeah.
We are made of carbon. Our food is essentially made of carbon.
Yeah.
So why not cook over it?
Nice.
It's just your food cooking your food.
Food cooking your food. What did you say that one time? If something about if it's not. You said I'm not going to eat the food of my food.
Yeah, I mean,
what does that mean?
It's really unfair for me to go and spend 18, 20 hours cooking a brisket, right?
Yeah.
The brisket takes a lot of time. I know it takes a lot of time, right? On your table, all you do is pick it up at the time that we designated and you walk away. You don't see the sleepless nights. You don't see me cleaning the smokers after, the grease and all of that.
Right.
I know the 18 hours I put in.
It gets messy.
Yeah, 18 hours I put in to cook it.
Yeah.
Well, what about the year it took for that cow to get raised first? Every cow only has each cow has 2 briskets, right? So if I made 2 briskets for your family, you just took the whole front of the cow. And
for you guys that don't know, a brisket is the chest of the cow.
chest of the cow. And you just took that off this animal. This animal spent a year of its life being raised to be then turned into what is now being served at your davat, at your party.
Sure.
And that animal was raised eating certain foods, right? It's right to eat those foods.
Sure.
So by you coming down here with your high and mighty Whole Foods and your Costco card and eating the vegetables that cow was meant to eat so it could then sacrifice its life to become your brisket is an insult to the life of that cow. It's sacrifice. That cow was a shaheed, and you dishonor it by adding all these vegetables on top. Eat the cow for what it is. Honor its sacrifice.
It's almost like, adding salt to the wound. Like, dude.
Yeah, I'll add salt to your meat.
Yeah.
But don't add salt to the wound.
Yeah, it's like, dude, this animal ate these things. Now that you're just throwing it on top of it.
This applies to red meat.
Okay.
It does not apply to white meats like poultry.
Okay.
The reason being that poultry is not a meat; it's a vegetable, right? It's closer to being a vegetable than it is to being in the red meat department, in my opinion. So, when you eat a chicken, it's okay to eat chicken and eggs.
Okay.
Right? You're gonna get the mom.
Chicken and eggs.
I don't think people realize this.
The chicken or
when
the egg?
When you're eating chicken and eggs, you're eating the mom and the baby in the same plate.
Astaghfirullah.
That's what you have in your plate.
That's
right.
God.
You got the hen and the egg, dude, right there.
When you put it like that, man, I don't even.
Which is why you need to be able to define them as vegetables, because when it's a plant and a seed, it's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
Right.
But you do. I mean, knowing you don't eat a lot of you're this Halanel's founder.
Yeah.
This guy who's the barbecue pitmaster, the Desi, like the OG, right? Like. And mashallah, I mean, you did great, right? You did the, you've done various functions, right? Various food festivals, right? You were at DC, right? You had a smorgasburg, right?
Yep.
So mashallah, I mean, people know you as this guy, right? But you don't eat a lot of red meat.
I don't, not because I don't love it.
Yeah.
Don't get high on your own supply. There's a very famous sheikh, a few years back in the 90s, who mentioned this.
Yeah. Sheikh Dave? Is it Dave or?
Oh. No. Was it Pac?
Oh.
No, Sheikh Biggie. Sheikh Biggie.
Biggie Smalls up in the house.
And he said, don't get high on your supply. And that is, you have to live by those rules. There are certain guidelines that you have to do.
Crack commandments?
Yeah. The rules you learn on the streets of Baltimore. Yeah. And no, you just see brisket all day.
Yeah.
And then you don't want to eat it. Now, there are certain cuts of meat that I will never turn down. But when it comes to brisket.
Like what? Filet mignon?
Filet. I'm a big filet guy. I love very tender meat. I'm not a big greasy meat person, which is very surprising to people because brisket's a very greasy meat. So are the ribs, and they're my big sellers. And everybody's like, "Oh my God, you must eat brisket all day, and you must have like the cholesterol."
It gets old.
Yeah, cholesterol of an 80-year-old man. I'm like, no, man, my cholesterol's fantastic. My doctor told me, and I was like, "Do you know who I am?
Yeah.
Do you follow me on Instagram?" He's like, "Well, yeah, I do," which is why I'm surprised. Your cholesterol.
So you take care of yourself.
I don't take care of myself per se. I've gotten lucky. Like when it comes to the roulette of genetics, my brother eats salads and eats healthy, and he's got the cholesterol of a 6-year-old man. And I do eat a lot of steak, right? I mean, I do consume more red meat than the next guy. Yeah. And I have the opposite. So in the game of chance that is genetics, I won. Yeah.
But you're cautious in your consumption, right?
Absolutely.
You don't go overboard.
Yeah, I don't go overboard. I try, like tonight I'll be having some Wagyu. Yeah. I have a very special steak waiting for me when I get home. Yeah. And I plan on cooking it in some charcoal, caveman style.
Hey, show's over, guys.
Let's go. So I'm treating myself with that tonight, as an experiment. And I'll do that, maybe once a week. Yeah. Twice a week. But normally I do not do that. I eat a lot of seafood. That's definitely my Baltimore run in me. I think I consume a lot more seafood than I do beef. Yeah. And, if it's from the sea, it's halal. So if it's halal, it's probably good for you.
If it's halal, it's probably good for you.
In moderation.
So what made you start Hal and Al's?
I started with just feeding my friends.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
We had that community vibe.
But why did you decide
And then
to
people
start?
started coming to me and saying, "Hey, I got a dawat coming. I got a birthday party. I got Eid.
Yeah.
Would you mind making me one?" And I'm not.
You started with one smoker. You had it for yourself.
Yeah, it was just this tiny little box made by Masterbuilt. It was this like $120.
Dude, that thing was
smoker.
amazing.
Yeah, we beat the crap out of this thing.
My
and then
God.
we went up. I had the 30-inch, and then a year into it, I think I sold it to a guy I knew from my old community, and then I got the 40-inch. Same thing, because I knew it. I didn't want to. I'm not one to venture and experiment a lot, so I got the same thing but just bigger.
Right.
And it was great. We made turkeys in it. We
So what? You just got more requests from people, and you're like,
it just kind of kept growing, and growing. And then I mentioned it to one of my coworkers. I was like, man, this could really turn into something. A lot of people ask me for this. And, like, what should I charge? And he went with me to a barbecue place here in Virginia. And we happened to be eating lunch, and we met the owner. And the owner was this Native American guy. And he was talking about, we just started rapping about minorities in barbecue, right? Because it's not necessarily a minority run industry.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
A lot of white guys named Earl. And so we started talking about it, and this guy was so cool. Like, he just shared and shared and shared, and I loved that vibe. So, and as I grew into it, and I started meeting more people who just wanted to share. They wanted to make their barbecue experience your barbecue experience. They loved it. They wanted you to love it. And it all comes back to that first singular fire, right? Everybody just loves the fire. It brings your family together. Everybody wants to be near the smoke.
Yeah.
And I really loved that. So I love feeding people. And it was just a very natural progression. I think that anybody who loves to feed the people around them or wants to host or be a good host will naturally find their way back to that fire. And that's why my love of barbecue started. So then I mentioned it to one of my coworkers, who's actually my boss at the time. Yeah. And he was in North Carolina for a meeting with one of my other coworkers, and these guys were at a bar. And I had kind of just dropped a hint that I wanted to do a halal barbecue. And I think I had some like BS name, like American Halal Meat Company or something at the...
Wisdom is about to be dropped, ladies and gentlemen.
This is the real story. This is a story that y'all don't hear.
Where did the name Hal and Al's come from?
So this guy, Bill, is a good friend of mine. He starts texting me. It was pretty late.
Yeah.
I must have been like, 11 o'clock at night. And
yeah.
I'm like, what's up? And he's like, I'm at a bar with our coworker, Carter. Yeah. And we were just spitballing, and we came up with some names for you to do if you decide to do halal barbecue. I'm like, okay, what are they? Yeah. And he's like, you could call it Hal and Al's barbecue, halal barbecue.
Wow.
And I was like, damn.
These guys are two guys at a bar.
Yeah, these just two random guys at a bar drinking. Yeah. And they came up with that. And I'm like, wow. So, and then they're like, and we got a menu for you too. And they were like, you could have like a ramen special, and you can call it ramen don noodles. And then you could have, instead of salad with balsamic vinaigrette, you could have salat with balsamic vinaigrette.
They're coming up with this stuff.
Just random guys, they're just drinking and coming up with all these like Islamic puns, and I'm like how is
we
how
didn't
is
come
this
up
happening?
with that.
I didn't come up with this.
Right.
And you could have your eggs sunny side up, like your breakfast sandwich, the sunny side up. It was just like ta ta ta.
Just rapid fire.
Breakfast food. You could have, instead of waffles, you could have fat waffles. And they just kept, man. It was rapid fire. I got like a 20 food item list.
Wow.
Of punny Islamic food. Some I couldn't use. Some may not be appropriate for our modern politically correct ears. Sure. But these guys just spit fire that night, and they came up with it. And I don't know how. I don't know what CNN thing they were watching about Sharia law, creeping Sharia, but they've picked up a bunch of buzzwords and they found a way to fit it into food.
I think, there's something to be said about that, because, those are your friends, right? Yeah. You talk to them regularly, right? White guys. Yeah. White guys.
White guys.
Okay. They're at a bar. Right, they're having a good time at a bar, doing their own thing. Right, you're the Muslim guy at home, right? About to go to sleep, right?
Yep.
And they're like, dude, and they just send you this message.
Yeah.
And all these ideas. Mm-hmm. And I think that's just so, I think that there's like, that's the essence of like being American.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
It's like, you didn't turn around and be like, astaghfirullah, these guys were drinking alcohol and I'm not going to name this company after this. Like,
no, it was inspiring. I was just shocked. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
You guys came up with this? Like, this is America.
Yeah.
Right?
I love that.
This is it. This is that moment where you're like, we made it.
Yeah.
Right.
I like that. That's really, really.
We're creeping into bars, man. Next thing you know, there ain't going to be no bars. Just gonna be finger food.
Horror armies.
Yeah. Yeah, man. They came up with so many cool names. So when I had our t-shirts made, these Hal and Al's branded shirts. It had I had Hal and Al's across the chest. It had it's in the name.
Mm-hmm.
Just to let y'all know, because I keep getting questioned about it all the time.
I like that. That was more like there's like a double meaning to that. Like, hey, it's good.
Yeah.
In the fact that it's in the name.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
yeah, it's the name itself.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's the name itself is creeping Sharia, right? You see the name Hal and Al's, and you're like, oh, two white guys making brisket. That's cool.
Yeah.
And then as you spend more time, the and in between starts to like fade away. Like I don't know if you remember when you were a kid, they give you that picture, and if you stare at it long enough, you'd see like a spinning snake and stuff. Right. That's what our logo is. Right now, you see two white guys doing
subliminal messaging.
But if you stare long enough, it's creeping Sharia. Yeah, we're coming for you.
Oh my god. That's hilarious.
So they really inspired it. My first T-shirt that I had made, I gave it to Bill.
Yeah.
I was like, you came up with the name,
That's
you get
nice.
the T-shirt.
What a nice gesture.
We had a whole bunch of Yetis made. I drink a lot of water.
Yeah.
So we had Hal and Al's Yetis made. I made sure he got the first one. The guy came up with the name, man. So you gotta honor that.
Dude, no, of course, most definitely. I like that, man. I really do. I really appreciate that. So I guess, to all the young cats out there, you seem like a very diverse guy, right? You seem like educated, your history, you seem intelligent, you're well spoken, you're cultured, right? It seems like you know a lot about your Deen. I've been around you, you're practicing. What drives you? How do you maintain that level of, I don't want to say balance, but like structure, right? Like how do you ensure that all those areas are touched upon, or what drives you to do that?
I do have a lot of hobbies, right?
Okay, yeah.
But none of them conflict with each other.
Okay.
So
interesting.
If you want to find that balance, if you want to find a way to make your life work, right? Whether it's work as a engineer, work as a doctor, work as a barista, whether or not you're a practicing Muslim, a not practicing Muslim, if you want to be a runner, a soccer player, it doesn't matter. If you want to find that balance, you just have to make sure that whatever hobbies you choose or whatever identities that you want, they don't contradict each other.
Contradict? Okay.
Right? So if I am...
So complement each other. They should complement each other.
They don't even have to complement.
Okay.
They just don't have to contradict.
What do you mean by that?
Like if you are a practicing Muslim or you want to be a practicing Muslim, maybe being a sommelier is not the career choice for you.
Yeah,
you can't.
Those are those wine taster guys.
Yeah, those are the guys with the little sniffs, like the snifter, and they're getting there like
a little
oakiness. Sorry, a little grape aftertaste. Yeah, no crap. It has a grape aftertaste. It's grape juice.
It's grape juice.
No, I like the idea of a sommelier is very interesting to me because I feel like I do have a strong palate and I could probably pick up all those different notes, right? The undernotes and the overnotes.
Yeah.
But being a sommelier is not in the cards for me. So I have to find something else to use my taste buds, my magic powers for.
I see.
Right?
Even if you have an inclination to something like that,
it's an interesting
go
thing.
back
Like
to your
right,
principles.
like my coworkers have a whole group chat that I'm in, and we discuss barbecue and scotch.
Yeah,
and I have nothing to say on the scotch subject. I can only talk on the barbecue side.
Sure,
but I find it interesting. They talk about the peatiness and the mossiness, and I'm like,
the Baroqueness.
I don't know what peatiness tastes like.
Yeah, what is peatiness?
Peat, right? Like I know what peat is. It's just like moss that grows in swamps.
Okay.
But I don't know what it tastes like. Right? I that's not something that I've learned.
Right.
It is. I'm sure it's like a different sensation, but I'm not going to know it. So you have to find whatever hobbies you decide to do in your life.
Yeah.
Make sure that they don't contradict each other. If they complement each other, even better. It'll make it easier to do those things.
Sure.
But if they don't, as long as they don't contradict each other, you can do all of them, and it'll be very easy to do all of them, right? But the moment you decide you want to get closer to the Deen, but if you're trying to get closer to the Deen, but you have a hobby or something that is the opposite of that, it's going to draw you away. It's going to keep you because you love your hobby, right? You can't get closer to something if you're already close to something else.
So what do you say to someone who already has some hobby that they've developed, and now they're trying to get closer to the Deen, and it's just, how do you find that?
I think a lot of people.
Is there a balance, or you just got to be like, dude, you got to man up and be like, dude, I gotta like.
I'm a big fan of cold turkey. I think the cold turkey works
you are?
well.
Okay.
In many things.
Okay.
Right. I think cold turkey is a great.
And we're not talking about meat here. We're talking about like.
No.
Quitting things.
Yeah, quitting things. Yeah. Cold turkey is probably one of the only ways that I know of to properly break an addiction or a habit or anything. Like, you just have to.
But that works for you.
Yeah,
it may
that
not
works
work
for me.
everybody
It may not
else.
work for everyone.
Sure.
My advice probably would be, if you make a conscious decision of what you want, and then go for it. Don't put one foot in here, one foot out there.
Commit.
Commit. Look at what you're doing with your life.
Yeah.
If you want to be a baseball player, commit to being a baseball player. The Orioles need you.
Yeah.
Right? If you want to catch that football, the Ravens will take you. Maybe not. I mean, the Redskins are probably easier to get on.
You get a commission. You're you're all over the place.
No, whatever you want to do,
Yeah.
make a decision and then stick by it, man. Man up and just do it. Like, you don't get wishy-washy. Like, I want to learn the violin. Then go freaking learn the violin. Don't be that person who picks up 10 different hobbies.
Yeah.
And then drops 10 different hobbies and then picks up another 10 hobbies. Find something that that you love.
Yeah.
Make sure it doesn't contradict with the path you want to go on.
Yeah.
And then just put everything you got into it.
But sometimes I think when some people want to do something like that, right? They have this desire or passion, or they're driven by something, right? They want to start something, right? Or whether it's a hobby, a business, a new endeavor, anything, right? There's a monkey wrench gets thrown in there where, people perhaps aren't as supportive, right?
Yeah.
And so, barbecue karke kya karna hai? What are you going to do with barbecue?
Yeah.
Mohsin Rehman?
Yeah.
Well, you're going to be a pitmaster for the rest of your life, right?
Yep.
Like, so, and then there's this young kid, right? And who's struggling. How does that person overcome that obstacle of, hey, okay, my pursuit is perfectly halal, right?
But there's no support.
Yeah, I'm not becoming a wine taster, right? I like drawing.
Yeah.
Right. And some people are like, oh, you can't draw faces. Like, dude, come on. This concept of this is halal and this is haram. You're not allowed to do this and you're allowed to do this.
Yeah.
Right. And I think Islam is much more than that.
Yeah.
Right. Our deen is much deeper than that. Right.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying oh yeah, you can do whatever you want. Right. But I think just the notion of prohibition versus things that are allowed, right? One of my teachers, man, he said to me once, he was like, in Islam, everything is allowed, except a few things, right? He framed it that way, right? And when he framed it that way, I was like, oh shit, wow, oh my God, wait, what do you mean by that, right? Because I was like, wait, what? Come on. Sometimes things sound nice, right? And I'm like, you're just talking a bunch of fluff, right? Come on, man up with me, right? And he's like, no, dude, think about it, right? You're allowed to pursue any career that you want. You're allowed to marry whoever you want, right? You're allowed to do X, Y, and Z, right? But there's a few things that are prohibited, right? And so it's a big circle, right? And those things that happen to be prohibited also happen to be bad for you.
Yeah.
Right. And there's a deeper wisdom to that too. So I think, having that sort of support when you have this concept of halal versus haram, prohibition versus being allowed, right? Like, I feel like a lot of people don't have that confidence to pursue, forget dreams. Like, that's one thing, but even hobbies, man. Like, I think a lot of Desi culture, you get like reprimanded, right? Or
having
like,
a shok.
Yeah, having a shok, having a hobby, or like you get snarky comments.
Yep.
Or from whether it's, parents or whoever, like classmates or friends, right? It's like, really, dude, what? Like, how does someone overcome that obstacle?
That's a tough one, because
right?
in our community, right?
Yeah.
We're a very central community where everyone's got this focus.
Yeah.
Be a doctor, be an engineer, be this.
Sure.
You can't look outside of these things. This is what you know.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
You're going to school to get this done. That's it.
Yeah.
You can do doctor, engineer, IT, maybe a lawyer.
Yeah.
And, don't love the lawyers, but lawyers are cool too.
Sure. Yeah.
And you have this like centric point of view that you put your kids on these paths, you put your siblings on these paths, and you forget that this is a person that had their own dreams, right? They had their own ideas. When I was growing up, everybody knew this. You can ask any auntie in our community. Mohsin was going to be a paleontologist. I loved dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs don't exist.
Listen, Trump. They exist.
They don't. They never existed.
Trump.
All that fossil shit
Trump
is
fallacies.
fake.
Trump fallacies.
It's just fake fossils.
Hey, fossil fuels. Just because you know what the problem is. Prius owners. People who drive Priuses don't know what it means
Model
to
P.
consume fossil fuels. So then their mind reverts back to this state where they start thinking everything's a conspiracy. Prius is destroying America.
I'm a vegetarian.
Clearly, you drive a Prius. Yeah. You can't be a Prius owner. Has my brisket ever been in a Prius? No. Nope.
Oh, man. That's part of your grand scheme, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. How did that ever happen?
Yeah. I didn't have this. That qudrat of Allah, man. It's qadr.
It's qadr. But yeah, go ahead. So, you were saying
I wanted to be a paleontologist. I love dinosaurs. I wanted to study dinosaurs. I was passionate about dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to take no for an answer from any auntie. And I remember my friend Haroon, one of my best friends growing up. I remember his mom saying, like, I remember his auntie saying, like, I love that Mohsin knows what he loves. I remember I was in Haroon's living room. We were leaving his house. I think my mom was there to pick me up.
Yeah.
And I remember auntie saying that, and it's kind of always stuck.
That must have been a good feeling.
Yeah, like she's like, all these bache.
Yeah.
Mohsin's the only one at like 5 who knew what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I pursued it for a long, long time. I have a whole glass case in my kitchen filled with all the dinosaurs and whales and sharks that I've collected over the years, like dug up. And so it was something that I loved, and I wasn't gonna let anybody tell me that I couldn't do it.
You're Ross,
right? No, Ross is me. He is an imitation of me. I did it first.
Okay.
And I wasn't gonna let anybody to tell me, right? And eventually, as I got older, I realized that I want to have a family. I want to settle down, and you're not going to be able to do that with a PhD in paleontology, making $40,000 a year working for the Smithsonian.
Sure.
So I made a conscious decision to change careers, but I kept it as my hobby, right? I still collect. I still go fossil hunting.
Yeah.
I still read
But there's a time for everything.
Yeah.
Right? You're not like a fossil hunting barbecue guy, a shooting, right? Like you like cars too. You're not doing all that shit at once.
Yeah, everything has a time and a place, and you find that, and that balance doesn't need to be found. Like I'm not driving my convertible every day. I'm not shooting the gun every day.
Yeah.
I am not going fossil hunting every Saturday, right? Things seem to fall into place. If you really love something, then don't let anybody tell you that you can't do it. You don't necessarily, maybe you're not doing it the right way, right? Like I didn't end up becoming a paleontologist. I admire paleontologists. I wish I could go on more digs and and visit these places where these fossils have been found. I think that'd be very inspirational moments for me, especially the way I grew up, learning about it. But I now know that, okay, maybe it was a bit of a pipe dream that this would be my career, but it doesn't mean that I can't love it. I can't be a part of that world. So yeah, people are gonna tell you not to pursue your hobbies or your dreams. Tell them to screw themselves. But be realistic enough to know that, okay, maybe I can't be an astronaut, but I can find a way to work in space. Right? I can be an engineer.
Sure.
Because not everyone could be an astronaut. You could study anything and everything you want about being an astronaut.
Yeah, but if you throw up all the time, then
if you're throwing up all the time, I mean, people don't realize that astronauts, right? Like Glenn Allen, these guys were amazing. Buzz Aldrin, these not only were they astronauts, they were also fighter pilots.
Yeah.
They were physicists.
Yeah,
they were geniuses.
Yeah, they were like the Ghazalis, right? Like
they covered everything. They did and they were good at it, right? Like Neil Armstrong was a Corvette racer. He was a fighter pilot. He was an astronaut. Apparently he was a fantastic barbecuer. And you have to wear all those different hats, and you have
when shit goes wrong
tall,
up there,
you're 6'4" because can't make these seats for everybody. It's not a one size fits all.
Yeah.
They need you. They make the spaceship, and you fit the spaceship, right? So they're not making the spaceship to fit your needs because there's weight and balance and all of these things. So they have to find the perfect specimen to do it. So maybe not everybody can be an astronaut.
I see.
It's just not in the cards for everybody. Some people are just not. They don't have the build for it, or they don't have the constitution for it.
Yeah.
Right. But it doesn't mean you can't be part of the space world. Doesn't mean you can't work for NASA and design the chip that gets Mark Rober. Right, he can't be an astronaut, but Mark Rober designed a lot of the tech that went into the rover that's on Mars now, and now he has this dope YouTube channel where he teaches people physics and chemistry. Right. He found I can't go to space, but I can definitely teach people about space and teach people about physics and use my passion in a different way in that same realm and subject.
Wow, that's pretty dope. That's deep.
Yeah, man.
So still like basically. Pursue your dreams, pursue your passions, and if you can't meet that, right,
focus them in a different direction.
And it doesn't have to be a completely different field.
Yeah.
And don't be discouraged.
Yeah.
Right? Don't be discouraged.
Yeah, sometimes when you're growing up, I had this Indiana Jones image. That's what archaeologists are.
Wow.
Dun, dun, I have a whip. The whip is how I get the artifact. Like, whoosh.
Yeah.
I pull the artifact, I fight the Nazis, and I leave.
Yeah.
In reality, it's probably just some old white guy named Montague with like a Colonel Sanders mustache and goatee digging in the middle of the desert. It's not as romantic. And so, learn what subject you want to get passionate about or make it your hobby. And then try to find a way to do it realistically.
Yeah.
Like not everything has to shoot for the moon.
Yeah. And some of the folks who are struggling with maybe getting into the wrong things, right? I think hobbies is a very good supplement to that, right? If you're trying to replace something, right? Like just find a lot of different hobbies, right? Like busy yourself with hobbies.
Hobbies are great.
Yeah.
Keeps your mind strong, keeps you active, gives you something to be passionate about. It doesn't have to be, I have a hobby. You can have many hobbies. Wear different hats, right? Our friend Qasim has 79 hats. Right? The man has a lot of hats.
Okay.
He's not going to just wear one hat. He's going to have a lot of hats.
Right.
Wear a lot of hats.
That's dope.
Yeah.
I like that. Mohsin Rehman, you can find him at Hal and Al's Barbecue on Instagram. This guy is a chef.
I wouldn't say I'm a chef.
No?
No.
You're a pitmaster?
Pitmaster. Chefs are... That's like calling somebody who works in a hospital a doctor.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Interesting.
The guy who became a doctor earned that title. They worked their whole life to be a doctor.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
There's a reason why when women get married and they're like, oh, why don't you practice with your husband's name? Why aren't you Dr. Rehman? She's like, because my husband's not a doctor. Right?
Oh,
the doctor earned that title. And a chef went to culinary school and earned that title.
Pitmaster. My apologies.
I'm just someone who likes to feed my friends in a backyard. I don't have a title. I like Pitmaster's cool.
Yeah.
But I haven't earned chef yet. One day.
If you guys are any barbecue questions, inquiries, get at this guy.
Yeah. Well, we can take a question now.
Which
Caller
camera?
number one.
Camera. Facebook
Caller
Live?
number one. Yeah.
Caller number one.
Beef or lamb? The answer is beef.
Really?
Yeah. And the reason it's called red meat is a protein called myoglobin. You should look it up. There is actually no blood in your steak. It's not a bloody steak. It is just it's water and this protein called myoglobin that's red, and that's what your steak releases.
It's not blood.
Yeah. So caller number 2. Yes, everything is halal. It's in the name. Thank you.
And we'll have Mohsin Rehman 2.0 for the special subscribers.
Oh, yes.
for the secret sauce next time.
That's for so this is the day shot, right?
There's
the
a day
show.
shot, yeah.
There's a nighttime show. It's a very, very different content.
Yeah. Where's my phone? We can turn the night shot on right now. There's a different vibe. Hold on, let's do this while we're at it. But you got anything to say for the people, man?
I do, man. Keep it real.
Yeah.
I've heard other people have been interviewed by this wonderful, wonderful host.
I'm not.
And they've been really boring.
Oh, shots fired. Oh, man. Mohsin Rehman. Most
they have been very boring.
Most incredible is
this
coming
is not
out
Hal and
for
Al's
you.
opinion. This is Mohsin Incredible's opinion. Keep it real, man. Like,
shots
shoot,
fired.
whatever you love, whatever you're passionate about, just do it.
Yeah.
Don't bullshit. Just do it.
I like
And if you're on this show, just be real and just say it's bullshit. Call it for what it is.
Yeah.
Whether you're talking about barbecue, you're talking about guns, whether you're talking about your political views or, aunties. You know, if you don't like aunties, then say you don't like that aunties.
I'm going to have some aunties on the show too.
Yeah, they coming. They coming.
Yeah. Aunties, I'm coming for you.
Yeah.